Hi fairies, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Vicky. It's so nice to have you here. I hope you stay a while. Today we are going to be talking about all the books that I read in the month of January. Okay, the first monthly reading wrap up of the year, and yeah, I'm actually really excited to get into these books. I will say most of them I read in like reading blogs, and some are out, some are not, so I'm not sure I'll be like diving deep into like my full opinions about the books. I just will be giving a little basis and yeah, my overall thoughts. So let's just get straight into it. This month was actually a really good reading month for me, I feel. The first book I read in the month of January and the first book I read in the year 2025 was Queen of Nothing by Holly Black. This is the third book in the Folk of the Air trilogy, and yeah, obviously I cannot tell you the synopsis of this book because it's the third book in a series. That's literally going to ruin the entire series for you if you haven't gotten into it. But I will say that the series in general follows Jude and Cardan. Jude is a human girl who was stolen basically from her parents in the real world by this fey man. Okay, he murdered her parents and he took her to the fairy kingdom, and now she as a human has to live in this fairy kingdom with her sisters. Okay, she has a twin sister who is also human like her, and a half sister who is half human, half fairy. And then we have Cardan, who is the prince of this fairy kingdom. And yeah, we just follow both of them. A lot of things happen. Obviously, I'm just giving like a very vague synopsis, but like so much happens in this series, especially in this particular third book. I really enjoyed it because it was very action packed in my opinion. I don't think it was as action packed as the second book. Like the second book was crazy. I read that in December, I'm pretty sure, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. But I also really enjoyed this one. I gave this book 4.5 stars. I thought it was just so well fleshed out, and I thought it was a really nice way to wrap things up and put an end to the series in the best way possible. And then I read two novellas by the same author in the same series. Okay, these are the novellas that come before the first book in the Red Queen series, The Red Queen, and apparently you're supposed to read these novellas for you to have more insight into the series before you actually get into it. So I just took the time to read them, and I will say they didn't really do much for me. The first was Queen Song, and yeah, I just thought it was very like random. I didn't really understand what was happening, but I do know that obviously we'll get more information and more insight into this when I actually enter the book and the series. But yeah, it just didn't really do anything for me. Yeah, I gave the first novella, Queen Song, 3 stars because it was just there. It was not bad by any means. It was just kind of boring, I guess. I'm not sure what exactly happened. I did enjoy the writing, and I'm interested in seeing if the writing will be even better in the actual books. But I gave the second novella, Steel Scars, 2 stars because I just found it very boring. Like no tea, no shade. I had no idea what was going on. I had no idea what the point was, and it was just quite boring in my opinion. But again, like I said, probably will get more insight into that when I enter the actual series. And apparently I was in novella mode because I went on to read the novella that comes after the last book in the Folk of the Air trilogy, Queen of Nothing, How the King of Elfhame Learned to Hate Stories. Okay, and I thoroughly love this novella. Like I loved it way more than I thought I would like a novella. You know what I mean? Like you don't really expect too much from novellas, I feel, but this one really gave me so much. It gave so much insight into Cardan's background and why he is the way he is and why he turned out the way that he is. But also at the ending there, we got him taking back his power a little bit, and I just really enjoyed it because it gave me the part of Cardan that I was seeking throughout the entire Folk of the Air trilogy. And yeah, I was really grateful for that. We also got like some little Jude and Cardan crumbs, and yeah, I just really enjoyed it for it's also illustrated, and I love the illustrations. So yeah, I gave it 4 stars. I thought it was really good. Then I filmed a 24-hour readathon, okay, my January 24-hour readathon, because I plan to do readathons every month for the entirety of this year, so stay tuned for all of those. I don't know if I will actually do every single month. I just hope it works out. But yeah, I did the readathon. It is out right now. You can go check it out if you would like. But I read 4 books in that readathon, the first one being Heavenly Bodies by Emmanuel Eriu, and this book was quite a phenomenon in the worst possible way. Okay, I did not enjoy this book by any means. It's basically about a girl called Elara. She is the princess of the Kingdom of Darkness. I forget the name, but this kingdom, basically their whole power comes from shadows and darkness, stuff like that. And then we have like the stars, which are basically the gods, and they control everything, blah blah blah. Like it's a whole thing. But basically one god in particular comes to her kingdom and kills her parents, you know, takes the kingdom for himself, wants to capture her, but she manages to escape and flee to a neighboring kingdom, which is the kingdom of light and stuff like that. And she seeks refuge in this kingdom. And yeah, apparently this king wants to take down the gods and the stars essentially, and so he enlists her to start learning how to really use her powers. And guess who she is learning from? Obviously his son, the prince Enzo, who is like one of the most powerful light wielders or whatever. And yeah, obviously they fall in love, but like things happen in the book. I would not say it was lacking plot wise in the sense of action. I will say it was lacking in direction. Okay, this book was just all over the place. The writing was all over the place, the pacing, the plotting. It was just very disappointing, like absolutely disappointing, because I went into this book thinking I was going to have a 5-star. Like I thought this was going to be my moment, and that was not the case. I saw great things about this book, and after reading it, I'm just like, it just reiterates the fact for me that BookTok, yeah, they don't have the best opinions. No tea, no shade. But yeah, I gave it 2.5 stars. No tea, no shade. If you liked it, if you enjoyed it, that's great for you. But yeah, the only thing that kept me throughout this book was the characters, because I actually did quite enjoy the characters. And then for some reason, I randomly read A Cut of Thorns and Roses. It's also in this readathon, and this book is just so funny to me because it's basically about this human girl, Fira. Okay, she has a father, a mother, and 2 sisters. Her mother dies, and for some reason tells her, who is the youngest of all the sisters, that she should take care of her sisters and her family, and she should never let them go, and she should never stop protecting them. I'm not sure why you would tell that to the youngest of all of them, but you know. And so for some reason her father does this bad investment and he loses his job and money and stuff, and they have to now start living in a life of poverty. And for some reason, once again, Farah is the one that is fending for all of them. Like, she is the youngest, but she's the one that is going into the woods to hunt and get like food and, you know, things that she can sell to get money for everybody in the family. And I'm just like, girl, what? And on top of that, all of them are still rude and mean and just nonchalant about her. They literally do not care about her. And I'm just like, what? So one day something happens. I don't want to spoil it per se, but something happens and some guy who is apparently a fae comes into the human land and has to carry Farah into the fairy kingdom because she broke a kind of rule, and now she has to pay the prices, and obviously they fall in love. But so many things actually happen in this book. Once again, it's not like a book that was lacking action wise, but it was just very, very random. I would say I enjoyed it. Like, I'm not going to act like it was the worst thing I've ever read. I did not hate the writing, at least not as much as people apparently do. I thought the writing was pretty okay. It was cringe quite a lot, and the wording was very interesting. Also, the language between the characters was just all over the place. But I didn't think it was that bad. I really didn't. And the ending was fun and random, and I just enjoyed it. Honestly, I thought it was okay. Like, I literally just felt very neutral about it. I gave it 3.75 stars, which is not that neutral because it's more leaning towards a 4-star. But yeah, I didn't think it was bad. I didn't think it was the best thing ever. It was just a fun time. Maybe it's because I listened to most of it on audiobook. I listened to the dramatized version on Audible, so that probably is why I liked it so much. That probably elevated my reading and listening experience. But yeah, 3.75 stars wasn't bad by any means. I do think you should know your taste before you get into this book, because it might not be for everybody. Then I read Frostblood by Ellie Blake, and this book was so crazy because I just randomly picked it because I liked the cover. It's basically about this girl called Ruby who is a fireblood. She wields fire essentially, and she is living in the land of Frostbloods, where being a fireblood is outlawed. And obviously she's trying to hide her powers, and that does not go well as you would expect. So she gets found out one day, her mother gets killed, and she's arrested and taken to this prison. But then one day, two guys come to this prison and basically break her out. They are apparently a part of this rebellion, and they hate the king, they hate how he treats fire lords and the citizens. They want to overthrow him, and obviously they enlist her to join them because she's like the only fire blood and apparently supposedly the most powerful fire blood. She joins the rebellion, she starts learning how to actually use her powers. Obviously the main guy, the NMC, is the leader of this rebellion, and he's the one teaching her how to actually use her powers, and in the process they fall in love, as you would expect. And yeah, this book was quite trope filled, I won't lie. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and act like it was the most unique thing ever. It wasn't, it really wasn't. It was very like surface level when you talk about like tropes and plots that a fantasy romance can take. But I did fall in love with it, and I did enjoy it. For some reason it just fully resonated with me, and I really could not tell you why that is. I loved every part of this book. I loved the writing. It wasn't flowery by any means, and it wasn't the best thing ever. It wasn't the most lyrical thing ever, but it was straightforward with some really nice one-liners, and I just thoroughly enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed the plotting, the pacing. It's also YA, so like the slow burn, like slow burn. It's not a long book, so it's not like as slow burn as you would expect from a longer book. It's quite short, but yeah, I did give it 5 stars. Yes, it was in fact my first 5-star of the year and my first 5-star of the month. And yeah, I really could not tell you anything more without spoiling it, but just know that I thoroughly enjoyed this book, and I really think people should talk about this book a lot more. Then finally, in this readathon, I read Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens, and I've heard that this author has like so many controversies. Something about her murdering someone. I don't know anything about that. I did not try to look into it because honestly I don't think I want to know. Like, don't ruin this for me. Like, I cannot deal with it. Okay, I'm sorry. This book is basically about this girl called Kia, who essentially was living in the swamp land, this marsh place, with her family, and then all of a sudden for some reason they all abandoned her at like 6 years old to just fend for herself in this marsh environment. And basically she is termed the marsh girl. She just tries to figure things out for herself. She undergoes so many things, prejudice, hatred, betrayal, for no reason at all. This is set in like the 1960s to 1970s, so I guess that would kind of explain why a young girl was just left to actually be by herself for so long. She literally grew up from the age 6 by herself in that same exact house, and it's just so crazy. We watch her just figure things out, we watch her fall in love, get her heart broken, fall in love again, get her heart broken again, and it was honestly quite saddening. But also there's this side plot happening with a murder case that has happened in real time, like present day. And in this book we just basically follow Kia living her life and growing up throughout the years, and also this whole murder case and the trajectory of it. Then at the end we see how everything just comes together, coincides, and turns into like this whole thing. And I just really love this book. I cried at the ending, which is like so dramatic because there was no actual reason for me to cry at the end of this book. There was nothing explicitly sad. I don't know, I was just in a mood, I think, and that is in the video, so you can go check that out if you would like. But yeah, I really just enjoyed this book. I love the writing, I love the plotting, the pacing. It was quite slow, I won't lie, it was quite slow at some points, but like this is a mystery fiction, so it was expected to be slow. I mean, fictions obviously they're slow at various points, especially at the beginning because things are being set up. There's a lot of like info dumping, and yeah, I just really thoroughly enjoyed it at the end. I did give it 5 stars, my second 5-star of the year, which is so freaking crazy. Getting 2 5 stars in one video, I was like gagged. But then I went ahead to film another video, which was me reading thriller books only for an entire week. And the first book I read was 9 Perfect Strangers by Liam Moriarty. This is a thriller, obviously, but it's like a fiction of sorts. It's like a psychological fiction thriller book, and it basically follows these 9 people who come together to this resort to seek a better life, essentially. Like, some people want to lose weight, some people want to fix their marriages, some people want to mend their relationships with their families, with themselves. A whole lot of different and varying personalities just coming together to seek a solace or a safe place kind of in this resort, thinking that they would come out of it like changed and, you know, qualified and just better people, essentially. And obviously things did not go as planned, because the owner of this resort is like shady as hell. She does the most unethical things, and when I say unethical, that's actually an understatement, because she really just go like basically crazy in this book, and it's just wild to see. I will say this book did not feel like a thriller. It felt a bit like a drama, almost like a comedy of sorts, because there was a good amount of humor incorporated into it, and I did like that, but it just did not give thriller vibes, and I'm confused why it is marketed as a thriller, because that just wasn't vibing. Even the ending, where it felt like we were supposed to be scared and like creeped out, because yeah, it was something that could realistically happen, because people just go crazy, and people that, you know, have money to spend and are just looking for something better in their lives somehow sometimes find themselves in situations that they just did not expect. So it is quite realistic in that aspect, but it did get a bit outlandish towards the end, and it just got almost comical in my opinion. But I did enjoy this book for what it was. I thought the writing was like pretty good, nothing too special, but just like straightforward to the point, and still humorous, still like with really nice one-liners. And yeah, I give it 3.75 stars. And then I read The Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown. This is the second book in the Robert Landon series, and basically this series follows Robert Landon, who is a professor of religious iconology and symbology. Like, he's just very well versed in, you know, artifacts and historical figures, especially surrounding religion. Okay, and for some reason, every time he lands himself in situations where he basically has to use this knowledge of various things to save himself and even the world. I mean America, but like, you know, when they say the world, it's basically just America. So yeah, I just really enjoyed this book, and this series is actually shaping up to be one of my favorite series ever, because it's so informative. Like, you can tell how much, like the amount of research that was put into these books. I'm only 2 books into the series so far, and I'm pretty sure there are like 8 books if I'm not mistaken, let me know. And it's just so crazy. Like, I cannot imagine the amount of time, research, effort that went into writing this book, because everything they're saying about the historical facts and religion, stuff like that, it's factual, like it's real life shit. But then this whole other fictional plot is incorporated, and they're just brought together in such a beautiful way that is like a history lesson without being a history lesson, but also still incredibly entertaining and thrilling. I just really love this book. I am really loving this series. I can't wait to get into the next one. I'm pretty sure the next one is The Lost Symbol. And yeah, if it's not very obvious by the way I've been speaking about this book, I did give it 5 stars. Yeah. 3 5 stars in a month. That's literally unheard of. Like, that's actually wild. The first month of the year. That's crazy. And the final book I read in this little thriller video was The Couple Next Door by Shari LaPena. Okay, this is a very popular book. I'm sure most of you know or have heard about it. It is basically about this couple who have a 6-month-old. Yes, 6 months, and for some reason they decide to go for this dinner party at their neighbor's house, and the neighbor says no kids, like, we don't want any kids, don't do that. And they get a babysitter, but last minute the babysitter cancels, and instead of cancelling their dinner to stay with their 6-month-old, they actually decide to leave the child at home alone. And they're like, oh, it's okay, we're just next door, like literally next door, we have the baby monitor, we'll come and be checking on her every 30 minutes, it'll be fine. Obviously it was not fine, because the baby did go missing. and basically throughout this book they just try to figure out who took the goddamn baby, and I honestly really enjoyed it. The writing was quite interesting, okay, and I have heard that this is why a lot of people did not really like the book, because it's very simplistic, like it's almost in your face type simplistic, and it can be annoying, I will say that, but I personally really enjoyed it, and I thought it was unique in its own right. It just made the book easier to read and ingest and digest, and just made it a faster read in my opinion. This book honestly felt like a palate cleanser, nothing too special, nothing too deep, nothing too thrilling, but like the vibes were just really good, I guess. I enjoyed the plot twist. I would say it didn't quite shock me as much as I would have liked it to, but I did enjoy and appreciate it. I also liked the little thing she did at the end there, where she kind of left it a little bit open-ended. It was just a fun book, I would say, and I did give it 4 stars because, like I said, it was a good book in my opinion, but it wasn't anything special. The final book I read in the month of January was actually for another video. Yes, another video. And can you guess what this video is? Yeah, it's basically me reading dark romance for the first time ever. And yeah, can you guess the book that I read? I'm actually so embarrassed, like genuinely embarrassed to say that I read this book. Like I read it from start to finish. Yeah, that was crazy. The final book I read in the month of January was Hunter Online.
Wait, what? What'd you say? What was that?
Hunting Adeline, okay? Like, don't make me say Jesus Christ. Yeah, not my finest moment, I will say that. And honestly, I don't think I'm going to even give you any actual thoughts on this book. You literally just have to wait for that video. It's coming sometime this February, as well as the thriller video, so stay tuned for those videos. I've literally just been filming a lot of that for me, but yeah, I'm only going to put my Goodreads review right here and tell you that I did give this book 1 star. And that's all I'm going to tell you until that video. Stay tuned, okay? That brings us to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. Those are all the books I read in the month of January, 12 books, and honestly it was a pretty good reading month. Obviously the novellas helped, but I am on track with my reading goal. I'm like even ahead of my reading goal, and yeah, my reading goal is 100 books, which is a little bit like overachiever of me, but I do want to push myself and challenge myself, and I think I can do it. But yeah, while there were like some disappointments and bad books that I read in the month of January, there were also really good books, like really good books. 3 5 stars, crazy, insane, but I was very grateful and glad of it. Let me know if you've read any of the books that I mentioned in this video, if you share the same thoughts and opinions as me. If you don't, I don't really care. If you would like to add any of these books to your TBR, let me know. Literally just tell me anything you want to tell me in the comments. Like, let's just talk. I love reading and replying comments. It's one of my favorite pastimes, so go right ahead. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and also follow me on Instagram if you want to be book besties or just besties in general. I would love that. But for now, I will see you in the next video. Bye!